Hello! In this tutorial, I'm going to walk you through how to create this split letter initial here in the 100% free program Inkscape. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to click right here where it says create text objects, and we're just going to click one time and that gives us a blinking cursor, and we're going to type in whatever initial we want to create our split letter initial with. And then we're going to resize this initial. I'm just going to click on this bottom corner arrow and I'm going to hold down the control key so that it gets proportionately bigger. If I don't hold down the control key, notice how it stays, it gets all disproportionate and starts to look really funky. So it's crucial to hold down the control key as you're resizing here within Inkscape. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to select which font I want to use to be able to create this split letter initial with. Now, you can use whatever font you want. Typically, these initials look a lot better with a bolder font, but really the sky is the limit. It's totally up to you. The font that I'm going to be using today is called Breakfast Pastry Solid. Now, I love this font. It's classic, it's clean, and it's bold. It works great for these split letter initials. So now that I've got my font on here, the next thing I need to do is I need to figure out, okay, I have all these little cute decorations around the side. How do I get those on here? And in Inkscape, it's a little bit tricky because you don't have the ability to view all of your font alternates here within the software. So I'm going to show you how you can view those items. What you're going to do is you're going to want to use something like the program Babelmap, okay? And all it is, it's another 100% free tool that you can download online. And when you open up Babelmap, it syncs with all the fonts on your computer. And what you can do is you click right here on single font and then you type in whatever font you want to be looking at. And then you want to make sure here in the Unicode block it says private user area. And then what's going to happen is when you click on that font, it's going to show you all the alternates that this font has. So for example, for the letter B, I could use this one that has a little curl on it or this one that's curling up. And as I click on each one, notice they are showing up right down here in the bottom. Well, I don't want to use those because those only have one curl. I want to really personalize this and use my own. So as I scroll down here, you can see there's all these little characters, these extra little swirls and swooshes. There's even some decorative circles and things like that, or a wreath that you could use. But for today, for this project, we're going to be using these little curls. I'm just going to use the one that has the 3 little dots and the one that has the 1 little dot. Now, I have these here in my Babelmap. How do I get them here into my Inkscape? All I have to do is I highlight both of them. I'm going to click on Control C or Command C on a Mac to copy it. And then I'm going to go over here into my Inkscape with the blinking cursor and I'm going to say Control V. And when I click Control V, those same little characters show up here within my Inkscape software. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to make each one of these into a graphic so that I can really get in there and adjust and edit them and kind of get all those swirls and swooshes going on my bee. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right up here to path and I'm going to say object to path. Now, if you notice, I can no longer change the font. I can no longer add in additional things right here. It's kind of like it locks it into place. But if you notice, it's still all one group. So I need to go to object ungroup. And now each one of these has its own little box around it. So we're getting closer here. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to scoot these kind of over to the side. And we're just going to look at this B in particular. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Before I add in the decorations, I want to actually split it up. Now, the way that I split it up is I go over here to the left-hand side and it says create rectangles and squares. And I'm going to select create a rectangle. And I'm just going to draw a giant rectangle here across my B. Now, so that I can really visualize what this is going to look like, I'm going to make my rectangle white. This is going to help me be able to just kind of see what does my B look like once it's split up. This helps depending on the letter. So if you want to make it skinnier, or if you want to make this down here, you know, it's totally up to you however you want to make it look. But if you turn it to white, it just helps give you kind of a preview image of what it's going to look like once it's split up. Okay, so once you're happy with where your rectangle is, you're going to select your rectangle, and then you're going to select the B behind your rectangle, and you're going to go to Path, Difference. And when you do that, notice the rectangle is now gone and your B is completely split up. Okay, now the fun part comes into play. We get to add all of these extra little characters to the sides of our B. Now, if I want to angle it a little bit, I'm going to click twice. So I click once and it makes it bigger or smaller. I can pull it out directly to the side. If I click again, the side arrows kind of become at a curve, and I can angle it to a different angle. And so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to kind of add these in here. Now I'm going to want more than 2 on my design. So all I have to do is I just click on Control Copy, Control Paste, and that's going to give me another one. Now, what if I want it on this side? It's going to look kind of weird if it's still facing the same direction. So all I have to do is I go up here to Object, and I can say Flip Horizontally. And then that will flip it so that it's the other direction. I'm going to click it again and angle it. And now I'm just going to take a few moments, and I'm going to add in several of these little decorations to my B. This is really the fun part of it, you know, is where you get to go in and really start to make it look exactly the way that whatever vision you have for it in your mind. And like I said, you can do this with any characters, with any font. It's just this technique that I'm showing you. Okay, so once you have all these decorations in there and you're kind of feeling good about what they're looking like, now at this point it's looking pretty good. It's looking like, okay, I'm liking this shape. It's looking super fancy, and I think we're moving in the right direction here. So what I need to do now at this point, each one of these is still its own individual shape. If I go to View and I click on Display Mode Outline, this shows me that each one of these objects is still its own individual item. If I go to cut this, it's going to cut out each one of these shapes. So I don't want that. I want this whole thing to be one giant group. So I'm going to go back to View, Display Mode, Normal, and I'm going to select everything that's here on my screen. And I'm going to go to Path, Union. And now all those individual boxes went away. If I go to View, Display Mode, Outline, notice how clean it is, although I missed a couple. So I'm going to union those again. Let me click on this design and this design, and that's a good way to check. And go to Path, Union, and notice how now those are gone. Okay, so I just didn't have those selected when I thought I did, which is why it's always so important to go back and check that view. Now, there's one last thing that I want to put on here. I kind of want to frame off this B with a line across the middle. So I'm going to just add in a rectangle here. Now, the previous color I used was white, and I don't want white. I'm going to make it black, and I'm going to make it a lot skinnier because I don't need it to be that large. I just want to put it right here, kind of to frame off the top of that B. And then I'm going to copy this, and this will just kind of give it a nice finishing touch whenever somebody puts a name or something on the inside. And then I want to line both of these up. So I'm going to go here to my Align and Distribute. If for some reason that menu isn't up for you, just go to Object, Align and Distribute. And then I'm going to line them up. I'm going to use the Align the Left Edges over here. And now I can scoot both of them over at the same time to make sure that they're even. And then I'm liking the way that looks. But again, I need to go in and I want to union all of these into one item. I don't want separate rectangles there. So I'm going to go to Path, Union, And then I'm going to make everything just a little bit smaller. I'm going to check it one last time, view my display mode in outline, and notice how clean the inside of that shape is. And so I'm going to go back to view. It is now ready for me to be able to save as an SVG and import into my cutting software to cut out and personalize my split letter initial. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it, and I will see you on our next tutorial. Bye.